Let me tell you what happened. I can explain.
Okay.
Let me tell you. Chris, when you went on and talked about hitting Sebastian with a belt and kind of, just chuckling about it and how the social services or child protective services came to your door and apologized to you, that got people upset. It got people upset.
Right. Let's clear that real quick.
Okay.
That needs to be cleared up because what was said and what people heard are two totally different things.
I disagree with that. We were told about a specific incident, and then we had a man boastfully saying, oh, it's the same CPS worker that we have a relationship with. Why are you having any type of relationship or even on a first name basis with a CPS worker to begin with? That's my first question. Then we find out that he's mixing up a second incident in with one of the other incidents, which implied that there were more than one incident, and that's all derived from this man in his interviews. So I think that is the problem here is we have a man that has jokingly stated he has a first name basis with a CPS worker. That's concerning for anybody that's watching from the sidelines on this case and talking about a missing boy after hearing that and listening to a stepfather laugh. It upsets people. It does. It upsets me. It upsets my audience. It upsets the public.
I heard you say you hit him with a belt.
Okay, so let me finish because that's the problem. When I go to make the statement, people want to interrupt and try to say, well, this and that. No.
He's not trying to control the conversation. He's not trying to show his authority. These are the behaviors I think she's specifically addressing when she stated that. And here he goes. I mean, it's like I feel like she's talking to a rock on this stage.
The answer, I'm giving you the answer. Now, when I answered that question, I told people Sebastian got a spanking. He got one lick on his butt outside of his clothes. If somebody can tell me how that's abuse to a child, explain to me.
Can you confirm when that happened?
That was years ago.
I got spanked by a belt and wouldn't spin by my mom for years.
So, but let's not sidetrack. Let's stay on board. Okay. So the question about the CPS thing that came up to play that everybody wants.
And just before we get here, just to speak on Gray Hughes' comment. I was hit with a belt. I was spanked. I am not one that's opposed to spankings, and you guys know that. Some of my audience doesn't agree with me, but I'm not opposed to spanking. I'm opposed to abuse. I'm opposed to if your child has a disability that prevents spankings, which I believe autism is one of those disabilities where you can't really punish the child for things that they cannot control. That to me is abuse. So yes, I do believe in corporal punishment, so to speak. I do believe in rearing a child. I stand on that all day long, whether my audience agrees with my statement or not. But I also know there's a difference in rearing a child and abuse. And I think people need to delineate those things as well.
To tie to this belt is not what it was.
Okay.
Well, I think it was confusing because when you initially talked about it, you referred to him as an embarrassed 15-year-old. So
Yes, you did.
like it was years ago.
We thought it was like right recently.
Well, instead of asking for clarification,
Let's clear it up.
So, as it stands, Sebastian went to school one day. He made a statement to a teacher. The teacher reports it to CPS. CPS comes to the house. That case has nothing to do with Sebastian getting spanked. That had everything to do.
So now he is defining the two separate incidences. So let's listen. I'm going to go back just a little bit because he is defining two incidences here.
Made a statement to a teacher. The teacher reports it to CPS. CPS comes to the house. That case has nothing to do with Sebastian getting spanked. That had everything to do with Sebastian didn't like being in trouble. So he thought by reporting it to a teacher.
He said punished before, and he reiterated that the punishment was a belt. So in a different interview. So I'm very confused about these statements. So you guys need to do your own research and find out factually for yourself. But I'm confused based upon these interviews. So I can't make it. You have experience with the Department of Children and Family Services. You know, if you have an autistic child, you've had a situation such as this, not that you've abused your child or anything like that. Have you ever known a CPS worker to say that? That's what I was going to ask MTV. Have you ever known Sweetie Pie gifted 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships? Oh, God bless you. I didn't see it come in. I'll have to go back and check. Thank you. It's not up here for some reason, or I missed it. But let me see. I can't put them on chat for some reason on here. So, thank you. I appreciate it, y'all. But either way, I'm just a little confused about this because it sounds to me like there were two separate incidences. Maybe the belt incident in the past is what how he knew the social worker on this. Him trying to be kicked out of the house incident by Sebastian. But again, he doesn't really define the time frame when this has happened. So, I'm still a little hazy on the true facts.
And looked at him and said, Sebastian, you can't false report. That will get people in trouble.
I don't know if false report is something social workers use. Maybe they do. I don't know. I don't have any experience.
And you can get in trouble. And then she explained to him what happens.
What did he say you did to him?
Can I ask you, what does that have to do with the price of eggs?
Whoa, did not. Woohoo! That was a hot button for him. Let's listen to that again. Let's see how quickly he gets frustrated here.
And then she explained to him what happens.
What did he say you did to him?
Can I ask you, what does that have to do with the price of eggs in China when it comes to the disappearance of Sebastian?
Because I'll tell you why. Because you're wondering why people are coming at you. And
Yes,
it's
because
because he was in your home last. That was the last place he was seen.
Yes,
so
it was.
when we hear these things, it's like, okay, let's just clear it up and see what happens. Because I'll tell you why. Because people, I'm not saying me, but I've seen people say, hey, he was hitting his child. He reported it to his teacher. Did something happen? Was there an explosive incident that happened?
No, absolutely nothing of that nature.
Okay.
And for people to not understand, when you discipline a child, there's a difference in discipline and abuse. There truly is a difference.
But I think hitting anybody with a belt is abuse. I'm sorry, I do. And a lot of people agree with me, and that's the problem.
And
So we
guess
have a
what?
different
That's the
opinion.
great thing. That's the great thing about having your opinion.
Yes.
That's an opinion. That's not a fact. That's opinion.
Okay. I think a belt is abuse, but that's my. Again,
Well, if I was leaving bruises and marks on a child, that's abuse. That would be considered abuse.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessarily just the physical marks that make it abuse. Just my personal viewpoint.
I mean,
Okay,
so
but-
by definition,
That's weird.
that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. You can say your opinion, and that is fine, but you have to back it up and say, what I'm stating is just an opinion. There's no fact to it.
I don't think that there's no fact to it. I think that a lot of people I know in my own audience. All right, Delilah, you can stretch out, but don't knock my camera. I think that a lot of people, and even in my own chat, don't believe in spanking a child with a belt. So it's an opinion that many people do have. I have to say, in my own chat, I think we're about a 50-50 split personally, of who does not like, belts and corporal discipline, so to speak. But again, that is a personal opinion and a personal preference from one parent to another. So we don't want to, say one person that disciplines their child, rears their child, is abusing their child, because they're not. They're rearing their child, and they have a right to discipline their child the way they see fit, as long as it's not abuse. But I just have a problem with older children, 15 years old, 13 years old, being swatted with a belt because of their age. There's a point when you take things away and ground versus spank. I mean, there's only a small window that spanking is really effective in the rearing of a child, from everything that I've read.
When you don't say that, you leave it open to interpretation for a lot of people to take it and run with it. That was a lot of the problems with this.
And there will be people, I can get people from CPS that will say hitting a child with a belt is an abuse. But here's the thing, you're right. That doesn't have anything to do necessarily with Sebastian and his disappearance. But what it does is it creates a narrative in people's minds that we need to clear up and change, Chris. We need to clear it up and change it. Okay? So let's do that.
So we just did.
Okay.
Well, he never really answered the question, so he never cleared up a thing. He just made the suspicions worse, in my opinion.